first thing to know about clinical depression is that it's treatable. However, it can also be very deadly. But before we go into more facts about clinical depression, let's talk about what clinical depression is and why it's different from sadness. The difference is that when people are clinically depressed, their behavior meets several specific criteria that has been set out by the psychiatric community. People who meet these criteria are then diagnosed as clinically depressed. This is not to say that when people are very sad or upset, that their feelings should not be taken seriously, and that this should only be reserved for people who are clinically depressed. People who are clinically depressed have a prolonged sadness that lasts at least 2 weeks with no reprieve. Our second point is that people who are clinically depressed almost always need treatment by the medical community in order to get better. Number 3, clinical depression of this type can be inherited. Many times this type of depression runs in families and is passed down from generation to generation. Number 4, treatment for this illness can vary from the use of medications and therapy, but most of the time the medical community recommends both. 5, one of the most difficult symptoms of all is that people who are depressed in this manner often feel extremely hopeless, and that they feel nothing can help them feel better. This is one of the major reasons why people who are clinically depressed do not reach out for help. Number 6, in addition, people will also feel a very low sense of self-esteem and confidence, even to the point where they do not feel worthy enough of getting help and getting better. It's almost as if they are so overwhelmed by the depressive symptoms, they sometimes lose the ability to reach out and ask for help. Number 7, some people who are depressed will experience confusion and the inability to focus on tasks they normally would have no problem completing. Number 8, even though some very well-known TV celebrities and famous newscasters have come forward with their personal experiences of how they have struggled with depression, some people still feel the stigma of reaching out for help for an illness of this type. People still feel a sense of shame and loss of pride. They are already feeling vulnerable, and it is hard for them to trust anyone and tell them how they really feel. Some people are afraid that they will be hospitalized, and they don't want that. Many people do not know what they need to do to get help. They do not know that it is as easy as calling 311 and asking for the name of a local mental health provider, or just Googling a mental health provider and calling for an appointment or even a phone consultation. The idea of doing this may seem overwhelming to them, and that often holds them back from reaching out for help. Number 9, they begin to get suicidal thoughts, and then these thoughts turn into suicidal plans. This is when a clinically depressed person enters the danger zone. Number 10, once a person becomes this desperate, they may make a suicide attempt. And if they succeed, then this is the greatest tragedy of all that occurs. On the other hand, if the attempt fails, this could be a turning point when the person begins to receive help. And with treatment, they find out they can get better and resume their lives. Number 11, it is also very helpful for people who are friends or family to recognize the signs of clinical depression so that they can urge them to seek help and actually reach out for them so they do not have to do it alone. Number 12, people who are clinically depressed actually have changes in their brain that are different from people who are not depressed. This is why they often do not get better without treatment. There are some psychiatrists who use brain scans to diagnose clinical depression. From the scans, they are able to see areas of the brain that show overactivity and underactivity in specific areas of the brain that are typical of people who are depressed. Number 13, people who are depressed often report feeling hopeless, but it's also hard for them to identify any other feelings, and it's very common for them to say they feel numb. Number 14, people who have problems with drugs and alcohol are more apt to have serious depression. Alcohol, which is often thought of as a stimulant that causes feelings of well-being, is actually a depressant. What happens is that a person who is already depressed finds temporary relief in drinking alcohol. However, the relief is temporary, and if they continue to drink, they will feel more depressed in the end. Number 15, if you know of a friend or acquaintance who is seriously depressed and not only tells you that they are suicidal but they have a plan to carry it out, then it's best to call 911 and let them know. Your friend may tell you that they do not want help, and this is not unusual. And you may feel guilty in going against their wishes and calling for help, but you may save their life. There are many reports of people telling others they are suicidal, and no one tries to get them help, and then they follow through and end their lives. Take the risk that they will be mad at you. It is better this than they commit suicide. And usually when they start to feel better, they will thank you for helping them. Thank you for watching.